I was in West Bengal and at IIT Kharagpur. After 21, I moved to the US, right? So 21 to 33, I was in the US. So a good part of that time where, you explore a lot of stuff, I was out of the country and then moved back and jumped into agri, right? I didn't have a lot of background in it. So a lot of the learning for me, was pretty new. I started really from the scratch. Of course, I did receive a lot of help. I took a lot of help from people. Right. So, I started looking at, as I was exploring agriculture, I started looking at milk itself in a little bit of detail. Right. I remember, going to a few conferences in high techs where, there was a, conference about dairying, and, how dairy industry is going to be the next big thing. There's a lot of discussion going on in Hyderabad at that point of time. And I thought, this is a good opportunity. And, this slide actually sort of summarizes where we are at today. India is the largest producer of milk in the world, right? And we drink most of it, right? We are the, we are the largest producers as well as the largest consumers of milk in the world, right? And we have a large vegetarian population, right? And we use, we can call ourselves, the term lacto-vegetarian. So we use a lot of dairy in our everyday lives. Right? And out of, what India is doing, right? 30% today, this was done in 2020. This data is from 2020. So only 30% of that is met by organized sector. So organization of dairy sector is also happening at the rapid pace. By 2030, in another 7 years, government of India predicts that this 30% will become 50%. So there is an opportunity for organization of the sector, and that is also happening at the rapid pace. And the dairy overall market itself, right, is actually growing at an aggressive pace, right? It's already a $150 billion dollar industry, and it's growing at 12% CAGR. Value-added products are increasing, consumption of that is increasing. So there's a lot of opportunity, and we already have, giants like, Amul, Nandini, Vijaya. We have the large cooperatives that are that got established and are doing quite well, right? So as I started to look at this field, and one of the things, though, that I started to read about, though we've solved the problem of quantity of milk in the country, right? We've sort of, before probably in 60s and 70s there was a decent shortage of milk, right? But now, thanks to all the large cooperatives that we have and the established private sector players, there's no dearth of quantity of milk in the country. But I felt, looking at, the newspaper reports that are coming out, there's a space for, quality milk also. There's some gap in, being able to provide quality milk that, I wanted to sort of fill. And, this is some of the data that I was alluding to, right? If you open, if you look through the newspapers, right, you occasionally see reports of, widespread milk and food adulteration. Just recently, 2 months ago, there was some news reports coming out of Yadadri, where, the people were talking about formalin being present in milk, right? So there is, there is a milk and food adulteration that is, always continuously reported. And another big thing, if you look at the, recent WHO reports, they talk about, widespread antibiotics misuse, right? Widespread antibiotics misuse in dairy, in chicken, right? In a lot of the foods that we are eating. Right? So there is this problem that, I wanted to be part of, and, we were looking through a lot more data. Food Safety and Standards Authority of India itself has done, 2 large surveys, one in 2012 and one in 2018, right? And this is some of the data from the 2018 survey, right? And, about 6,400 samples were, collected, throughout India. And out of that, all the issues were, observed. And, what was reported, right, is about 41% of, samples had one or the other, non-complaint issues. Though FSSA reported that the problems, we did far better in 2018 compared to 2012. Still, about 41% of the milk samples had one or the other quality issues. When we took a look at, and we continue to take a look at, milk, right? We feel the problem is slightly bigger, and it has to be addressed now in the country, right? We have to together, all of us together have to help solve this problem, right? This is not, somebody's problem. As a country, we have to, attack this problem and solve this aggressively, right? If India has to be a developed nation, we have to address all these, the issues that we see, right? All the quantity of milk problem we've solved. Then, the finer details of quality also have to be addressed and solved. And that is where, Sid's Farm was born. Sid's Farm is a promise from me to my son Siddharth, saying that we'll produce the best milk possible, and that is what we deliver to our customers. And that is how our journey has started. This is our promise, and every day our team works really hard to ensure we live up to this promise every day. This is a promise that our customers look at, and because of their support, we are able to grow today. And this is just to make it interesting. This is how we started, from a lease facility on the outskirts of Hyderabad in Shamshabad. Shamshabad is where we started. Now about 6 kilometers from the main road in Shamshabad is where our first lease farm was. And we started with 20 cows. Went to Tamil Nadu and bought our first set of cows, and and essentially all my knowledge typically was from either a book published by NABARD, or essentially what we read in essentially a textbook, right? Everything was bookish. Read how to select a cow also. Definitely a lot of help from friends, doctors, but my own knowledge was definitely through a book. And though I visited few farms and researched before getting into it, still I did not understand what it is meant to do dairy farming till I really got into it, right? And some of the big lessons, milk, cows have to be milked 365 days a year, right? Twice a day, no matter what. No marriages, no festivals, no friends, right? This has to be done no matter what. Right. I'm hopefully not trying to scare you, but if you're looking at getting into dairy farming, this is something that you have to do initially. Later on, as you build a team, some of these things will be managed by the team. The team will take care of it, right? But initially, I mean, you as the the entrepreneur, right, has to make sure we have developed these systems that this will go without that few initial years of effort that has to be done. Right. Then there are, when you are in dairy farming, there are labor issues, animal health issues. You're committing a certain amount of milk to your customer. You have to deliver that milk, that quality milk to your customer, no matter what. Right. On top of that, when we started, as Vignesh mentioned, we started in 2013 with our first farm. Right, we were getting abnormally low rates for our cow's milk. Right, we were getting paid 15 rupees per liter. Right, the slip, the bill slip from the bulk milk as we were giving was abnormally low. Our cost of production was between 25 to 30 rupees. Right, we were not even getting paid. We were getting paid close to half of our cost of production. Right, so only today, direct to consumer is a buzzword, right? Today, everybody talks about D2C brands today. But back then in 2013, it was our only chance of survival, right? Only if we sold direct, would we survive, right? And we decided back then, we will, sell our, milk direct to our customers. And that is how our journey started. Right. So, we would wake up at 4 in the morning, milk our cows. We had a manual packaging machine, manually packet the milk, and then 4 to 5 that would milking of cows used to happen. 5 to 5:30, hand packeting. 5:30 to 6:30, our auto would travel to the city and deliver milk and come back, right? But as demand for milk increased, it's 4 became 3:30, 3, 2:30, 2. At one point we were waking up at 1:30 in the morning just so milk reaches our customers by 6:30. So as we were understanding dairy farming and we were figuring out, that is when I felt that I had not researched this enough, right? Though, processing was in my mind as I was moving back from the US. Also, I went and visited a large processing facility in Michigan. I never really internalized dairy processing. I never felt that maybe I would need it, right? We would need to do it. But then it struck me that, unless we, chill milk, right, and provide it and buy some time, right, both our people as well as our cows would die, right? Because, we were going through a very, very rigorous schedule and we would not survive. Again, I want to emphasize again, looking from a customer's perspective, right? It doesn't matter how great milk you produce, right? The milk does not reach a customer's home by 6 in the morning or 6:30 in the morning. Your milk is no good, right? And this is a very, very important. So we've slowly started investing in processing within 1.5 years or so. We invested in a mini pasteurization facility, talked to a few suppliers, and that is how our journey into chilling milk and basically doing a basic mini pasteurization of milk started. Right. And so I mean, as I was as we were doing this, I had a chance encounter. We were very lucky to have Professor Ranjan Ghosh from IIM Ahmedabad. He visited us when he was in Hyderabad. And he saw one of our flyers. He heard about us in the city, and he invited us to come talk about value chain. I did not understand what value chain in management meant, right? But then I read through it, and what became clearer, right, is what are we doing, right? What was Sid's Farm doing then? One, we were producing raw milk, right? Raw milk production itself is an industry, right? Then we were taking that milk, processing and packaging it. The second thing, and to survive, we had to market our own milk, right? So we would go to, communities, do marketing, right? On weekends, we would go put up a stall, taste and smell the milk, sample the milk with customers. All of that, we would do. And because we do direct delivery, logistics and last mile, and also we had to do a customer, engagement, right? Because tomorrow morning, milk is also a thing people switch on and off, right? So tomorrow customer might not want milk. So customer service was also good. So we're sort of doing like three different industries, right? We were sort of managing. One was raw milk, second was processing, third was the entire I would say probably the front end, right, where essentially taking this milk and supplying this and doing the customer support. This is what a company like Big Basket would do, for example, right? And we were doing all these three things. So we had to prioritize, right? Because we figured we would not be able to do everything perfectly, or we can still do it perfectly, but then what would you focus on? What are the most important things we should focus on? We started to dig a little bit deeper into this, right? There are opportunities here, right? See, once you write this down, right, would I focus on production? There are opportunities there if you can attack. Today, I think an average cow milk farmer is getting paid 42. What I said was 15 rupees then. Today, an average cow milk farmer is getting paid anywhere from 40 to 45 rupees. So the better prices the farmer is able to avail today. Similarly, buffalo milk, 60 to 65 rupees is what they're able to make. So there is better pricing now. So there are opportunities in dairy farming side also. But you have to decide, because these are three big verticals, what is it that you would focus on? What is it that you would spend your energy on? So, then we started to write, right? Do we do all of our production on our own, or would we also bring our, farmers into our network? This also, as we started, looking at this was also a chance encounter. I never really studied aggressively, the farmer cooperative models. Right. One time we had a people issue at the farm, as you can say, a labor issue at the farm, where some of the people working with us left. Right, this is a common problem that in dairy farms people have. That time, to solve that the problem that day, we invited the farmers in the village to come help us. Right, we've asked them, why don't you milk your animals? Come and help milk our cows also. That is how our first engagements with the farmers started to happen. So we converted the problem that we had that day into an opportunity, right? Till then, the farmers there used to look at me as a crazy NRI who's trying to do something, who's trying to blow money, right? And now that thing we were able to. So slowly we started engaging, right? Farmers started talking to us. Why don't you take our milk and sell it? That is how the first sort of getting into a farmer, network started to happen. See, but there was another problem, right? So this was solving a lot of problems for us. One, we didn't have to deal with concentrating all of the production in one place, right? We didn't have to invest a lot more money on bringing all of our cows on our own, right? Social linkages, right? As I just said, improved considerably. So there are a lot of good things, right? But there was one thing, right? Even when we were doing our own dairy farming, see, there was one constant question that our customers asked us. Kishore, you're not there at the farm every day. How can I be sure that no water is added when you're not there? Right? This is the first basic question, right? So we knew, from the very beginning, right? Because see, every day, in milk, right, for any D2C brand, when you do something direct to customer, right, one important thing that happens is customers give you feedback instantly, right? Something is not right, customer will pick up the phone, call you, right? You have to be grateful to them because you're getting feedback to improve your services and our products. And that is what used to happen. So as we listened, as we heard this conversation, we felt testing was very, very important, right? No matter whether we produce or, our farmers produce, we felt testing was very, very important. Right. Actually, we also had another brand called Sunrise Farmers, right? Because I was not sure whether I could take all of the farmers' milk into our own brand. We started another sub brand called Sunrise Farmers then. And, we, brought the farmers' milk and, and started testing it, right? That is when we said, let's figure out how to test milk, right? Let's figure out what can happen to milk in the first place. And, we started, understanding milk. How can we test every 40 liters? So here I'll take a pause. I'll divert slightly, and this is relevant to our topic. But I also want to focus on why does adulteration happen, right, in milk in the first place, right? There are three reasons, right, that for this. If we can solve these 3 or 4 issues, right, basic issues, we feel India already produces the best milk in the world, right? I'm not exaggerating this. I'm not saying this to please the audience here. But these 3 issues, which I'll show. First, if today not enough money goes to dairy farmer, it is getting corrected slowly. But if we can solve this, right, pay a fair price to the farmer. Farmer is not looking to become a millionaire. Fair pricing goes to the farmer. So malpractices and farmers pricing goes away, right? There are different types of distortions that happen, here, and I won't elaborate on those. But the right kind of pricing goes to the dairy farmer. One, no thickeners get into milk today. Everywhere in the world, one of the primary testing tools for milk is an echo milk tester, right? It's a basic ultrasound testing device that sends a pulse into milk. It'll tell you how much fat there is, how many solids, not fat, there are, right? See, milk is natural water plus fat plus solids and not SNF. So this machine tells you how much fat there is, how much SNF there is. So it knows the milk is thick, but it does not know why it is thick, right? So if a farmer is feeling that I'm not getting paid properly, right, the first thing that he thinks is, if I add sugar, and nobody is testing, right? I'm sort of, deceiving the machine. I get a better price. That is how sugar gets added to milk, salt gets added to milk, urea gets added to milk. Any of the starches like rice flour, wheat flour, some of these get added to milk. You see, not all farmers, most of the farmers are great. But, whenever a farmer feels, I'm putting all this effort, but nothing is coming my way. Some of these thickeners can get into milk. So if you can, so our mantra has been, how do we solve this? I'll go into that in the next slide, right? So if you can pay better, if you can pay fairer, I think this will go away. Addition of thickeners from milk will go away. Second is, milk is food for us. Milk is also, see, milk is nature designed milk to be had immediately, right? We drink it later. Just like milk is food for us, milk is also food for bacteria, right? So if you leave milk outside, right, bacteria are going to attack it, and bacteria are going to start eating the milk, and they convert the lactose and convert it into lactic acid. That is why we say, palu pullagai pagilipothunai, doodh khatta hoke toot ja raha, right? And the only good way of preserving milk, only right way of preserving milk is chilling it, right? Milk chill to 4 degrees, all problems of preserving milk are gone, right? And this is what we have to do, right? But if this is not there, if we have not invested, right, as a country, we have to invest enough in milk chilling infrastructure, right? We have some infrastructure, but this needs to be, lot more needs to be invested, right? Every village needs to have a chilling center, right? So if we have a village there 50 farmers are producing milk, there needs to be a village center, right? It could be a community village center, it could be a company owned chilling center, but we need to add a chilling center right at the village level. If we do this, then, the MBRT, this is a parameter that is talked about in milk, will significantly improve. This is where, if we can do this, our somatic cell count, right, will be, comparable to anywhere in the world, right? So first, fair pricing takes away the problem of thickeners. Better chilling infrastructure takes away the problem of preservatives like hydrogen peroxide, caustic soda, baking soda, right? Formalin, all this will go away. Next important thing is, just like we fall sick, cows also fall sick. When we fall sick, doctor might give us antibiotics, right? But same thing for a cow or a buffalo, right? Cows and buffaloes are 300 to 600 kgs in weight. Higher dosage of antibiotics are given to your cows and buffaloes, right? And when a bottle of when an injection is given to a cow, right? Any injection, right? Be it an antibiotic, hormone, right? We tell our farmers, bol ke karo, wo doodh alag se leke aao, and we'll still pay them, right? But we are only rejecting 2 to 5 liters of milk, right? But the antibiotic milk should not be mixed with regular milk. Otherwise, you're going to get an antibiotic positive. And what will happen if you get antibiotic positive, right? Unknowingly, we are developing resistance to antibiotics. There are only few working antibiotics in the world. If unknowingly we develop resistance to antibiotics, then, if we have a major surgery, when antibiotics are really supposed to work for us, they won't work, because unknowingly every day we are consuming a little bit of it. We developed something called super bacteria or super bugs that don't die for any antibiotics. And this is already becoming a very, very big problem. There are a lot of articles, coming out of WHO, even, ICMR, most of the newspapers, I think, including HANS, has covered, this extensively. Like antibiotic abuses is becoming a problem, and we need to address this, right? We can take care of these few things, similarly hormones, right? We can take care of this, right? I think, our Indian farmer, right, produces already the best milk. A small Indian farmer produces the, best milk in the world. Why do I say that, right? Because, our small Indian farmers, right, have been, taking care of their cows like their own family, right? Good practices, good human practices are already built into our, dairy farming, right? We've always done dairy farming as an integrated agriculture, right? We've always done this, right? So better practices, taking care of calves, for example, along with, the cows and buffaloes is already built-in practices in our rural villages, right? So if we can solve these three or four issues that I've highlighted here, we can produce the best milk in the world. We can deliver the best milk in the world to our consumer, to our end consumer. And that is what we work on, right? So we've started with, for the first emphasis on every 40-liter can that hits our farm, how do we test it? So we started with thickeners. Like, we prepared, all these are fairly simple test techniques, simple color change based techniques. We prepare urea reagent, we prepare a sugar reagent, a glucose reagent, a salt reagent, starch reagents, right? Then preservative, preparing a simple reagent that can test for hydrogen peroxide, caustic soda, baking soda, formalin. All of these reagents are prepared in-house. FSSA clearly, if you look at FSSA manuals, they've laid out clear, established ways to do this testing. So those are the processes that we follow. We have done some videos on our YouTube channel also. If some of you are interested, you can recreate these, looking at FSSA website. Very simple test, but you can look at a whole bunch of parameters through simple chemical high school testing, right? The next important thing that we do, there are other tools also. There are tools like IndiFOS tools that cost you anywhere from 4 lakhs to 1 crore also, that does automated testing, right? But we wanted to take testing to every farmer, every village level. We wanted to do this testing. So we relied on techniques that are cheaper, right? That we can, put in every village, right? So that is what we focused on. Then, how do we look for antibiotics present in milk? How do we look at aflatoxins present? We do strip-based testing, and we spend close to 4 lakh rupees a month just on antibiotic. That is the focus we put on it, because this is what we are promising. Our milk will never ever have, antibiotics in it. Then we go through hormone testing. We have a HPLC. We are soon introducing RT-PCR testing, in our lab. So we stay on top of testing just to make sure, some of the things that we are promising our customers, the things that we are promising our customers don't come into our milk. We do an average of 6,000 tests to make sure we stay true to that promise. And utilizing technology, all the milk collection installations that we have, or Stell Labs or Nano Dairy installations, all of this is over that ERP, right? And we've started to install these instant milk chilling centers in villages. We have 15 of these installations now, right? I mean, these are some of the pictures of our, these are can chillers. As soon as the farmer milk comes in, we lift the can with the milk and put it inside. Chilled water comes in from the top, falls on top of the can and brings down the temperature of milk from 28 degrees to 4 degrees, right? This is another, a different kind of a chiller. This is from Prompt. This is from Prometheon. This is from Prompt. And it chills the milk down, and immediately from 30 degrees, 4 degrees within this does it in within I would say 5 minutes or so the milk gets chilled down. This takes about an hour, right? So the sooner that you bring the milk to 4 degrees, the better it is, right? The better MBRT value you have. So naturally, without adding any preservative, you are able to give great quality milk to your consumer. And this is one of our focus things that we do. Going back to the value chain, I spent a little bit of time on adulteration. Coming back, we've realized initially we just had a farm with a room where we were, doing basic hand packaging. Then, we raised a bank loan. We incorporated the company in 2016, right, as a private limited company. Initially, it was just a proprietary concern, and then raised a bank loan and started putting together. We went through the TSI pass system and got the permissions and put together a processing facility. That gave us really some wings, right? Once we put together a processing facility, we had the ability to do the things a little faster, right? And we were able to get a grip on ability to chill milk down sooner and ability to pasteurize milk faster, right? And this gave us a little bit of wings, and we were able to grow a little faster from then on. And one of the most important things, right? I mean, I talked about it, from the very beginning. We were a young brand, nobody knew about us. And the first thing that we did anywhere, we would put a flyer, hoping that few people would see. We put 10,000 flyers, probably, we would get probably 50 responses or so. But those 50 responses were our route, right? We got few customers in a community. Then we went to that community, put a stall, we did a marketing event there, we did sampling events, and that is how we slowly started to grow our milk, and because, transparency was very important, right? From early 2014, 15, we always did, our farm open events, right? People would come, our farm was always open. Even to this day, I mean, anybody can walk into our facility and look at exactly what we do. We do a very specific open house event every Saturday, where 3 to 6 customers can walk into the farm, look at the entire process, right from milking a cow, to the milk getting tested in the lab, then an overview of the grass growing operations, and then the processing facility. All of that is transparently shown to our customer, right? And this is how we were able to win the confidence of the customer. Right? These are a few more pictures of farm tours and customer engagement. So this coming Saturday, we are doing a close to 125 people event at the farm, where we are again showcasing the farmer to 100 plus people. And this has been a part of our ensuring transparency, right? Pretty much any question there are. No bars. We try to address all the questions. If we don't know something, we go back, learn, and report back. And that is how we were able to connect with our customers and show them the value, right? Another thing that I also did not talk about is our milk is slightly more expensive than the regular milk, because we know, right? So you have to, it is so we have to show the value, right? It's not only money. we have to show our customer the value, why they, why we are charging more for our milk, right? Why our milk is more expensive. So this, this entire value, we try and show our customer. That is what we're able to give to them. So I talked about from the very beginning, home delivery and customer support were very, very important. And on 2020, till 2021, we were using a daily orders SaaS software. And from 2021, we launched our own tech. We launched our own app for tracking daily customer daily deliveries. All the payments also. We moved from a postpaid system to a prepaid system. As the business grows, working capital cycle also becomes a problem. When we started the business, Hyderabad was a postpaid market, right? Customers paid at the end of 30 days, right? And 30 days typically becomes a 40 to 45 day, billing cycle. And this is very difficult because farmer gets paid every 10th day, right? So we wanted to, eventually change this, right? Because, this is, you would not be able to survive this if you maintain this cycle. The cost of this would eventually be very, very high. So 2021, with the launch of our own app, we moved into a complete prepaid system where customers prepay for our milk. And the entire last mile delivery is done by a team of 350 plus delivery boys. Right. We also have a delivery partner, delivery boy app, where delivery boy logs in at 4 in the morning. The route that he has to do, with the customer information, all of that, shows up in his app. Delivery boy has an ability to take a picture of the delivery, right? And whether he has done the milk delivery or not can be recorded in the app. All of this data is looked at very, very closely. See, data is a big, data is the next goal. It's a lot of learnings that there is from the data. Right, so we look at this very, very closely. We look at quality tickets, very closely. Any trends, more customers repairing, in one area that my milk has broken, right? Means something would have happened to that delivery boy, right? Maybe the packets were sitting on top of his silencer. And that got really hot. Because of that, some of the packets might have gotten split. It's a lot of the issues are looked at through data. And this is what we do, right? We have our own direct delivery network where we service all these routes in Hyderabad now. Along with that, we're also present in close to 450 stores now. At night time, our vehicles go out from the manufacturing facility, come to the city, and from there, smaller vehicles then take the milk, and from their delivery partners, take the milk and do it. These micro warehouses are small, shutters through which we deliver to our store network. This is how we do our, delivery network, delivery of our milk throughout Hyderabad now. And we track, as I said, we track data I just wanted to put one slide on, data. Looking at data, is very, very important. We look at our perfect order deliveries, because it does not matter how great milk you produce. If the milk, if delivery does not happen perfectly, it is not great. So we look at every issue, right? Even if a cat has become a packet of milk, that is recorded. How do we solve it? How do we engage with the customer to see, how can we solve this problem? All of that are looked at closely and addressed. And I just wanted to summarize, what we do. We do 100% pure tested milk without any preservatives, antibiotics, and hormones. We do a lot of extensive testing. We do close to 6,500 tests daily. We look at every possible parameter. If somebody says that you need to look at this molecule, you need to look at this, our team right away sits on it, researches it, anything. So we stay on top of anything that can happen, right? Any new adulterant that can happen, any new thing that can come into milk, we look for that actively. Right, that is how we deliver on that promise. We have a model farm along with a network of close to 2,000 farmers now, and direct delivery of milk is done via the app. Continuous education, is how we build our customer trust and retention. And to do this is not possible without a very, very strong team that believes in the vision that we have laid out for ourselves. So we have a team of 200 plus people that deliver on this promise every day. Just to show a picture, I mean, this is the management team. We have a strong, mid-level and the junior level teams that execute, what we are doing. But all of this didn't happen, on day one, right? We started, thing. We always persevered. No matter whatever problem came, we converted into an opportunity. Right, and that is how we were able to figure out, solutions. And this is a long game, right? See, dairy, like any industry, I mean, if you stay invested in it, there's a lot of opportunities, right? Back then we only had milk as an opportunity, right? That was where a lot of dairy farms, right, started along with us, 2013 to 2015. I know at least 20 dairy farms, like us started, right? Today, you can just do ghee, for example, and build a brand out of it. Or maybe you can just take yogurt and build a brand out of it, right? Do it in a focused way, build a lot of expertise. All of these can be done. Just do dairy beverages and do it in a very focused way and drive it, right? The market is big, the market is huge. There's a lot of opportunity. A lot of the regular FMCG companies are also getting into dairy, right? You have recently ID, right, which is into Idli Dosa Batter. One of their big focuses is today dairy. Parle-G is into dairy, and pretty much everybody looks at dairy because it's consumed every day in India. So there are a lot of opportunities there, but you can take up each of those areas and grow. A lot of ice cream brands also came up. There's opportunity in ice cream, large shelf life. You have close to a year shelf life, and in ice cream. So there are a lot of opportunities. You can put one specific focus area and you can drive it and do it well.